I always thought my childhood was normal. Or at least, as normal as any child could hope for. My mother, Anna, raised me alone in a small town in Oregon. She was kind, gentle, and hard-working. She told me my father had passed away before I was born, and I believed her. For 25 years I believed every word she said. But the truth, the real truth, was buried deep beneath layers of guilt, lies, and love. And when it finally came out, it changed everything. The life I thought I knew. Growing up, my mum was my entire world. She worked 2 jobs, smiled through every hardship, and made sure I never felt like I was missing anything. She would say, "You don't need anyone else, sweetheart. You and I. That's all we need." And I believed that too. Every birthday, she'd bake a chocolate cake. The same recipe every time. Every Christmas, she'd hang up 1 extra stocking. She said it was for Dad, to keep his memory alive. As a kid, I'd ask questions. What was he like? Mom would smile, her eyes softening. He was kind and funny. He loved you so much, even before you were born. Those answers always felt enough. Until one day, they weren't. The cracks in her story. When I turned 25, I got a job offer in another city. While packing, I found an old photo album buried deep in the attic, one I'd never seen before. Inside were pictures of my mom, younger, happier. But there was a man beside her, tall, dark hair, bright smile. They looked so in love. But what caught my attention wasn't Tia's face. It was the date written on the back of the photo, March 1998. I was born in December 1998, and beneath that photo was another. My mom, pregnant, standing next to the same man, and behind them, a wedding banner. But my mom had never mentioned a wedding. My hands trembled as I flipped through the rest. Then I found a folded letter, yellowed with age. It was addressed to Anna. The handwriting was bold, masculine. I opened it, and my heart nearly stopped. Anna, I can't keep living this lie. I love you, but we both know this isn't right. When the time comes, you'll have to tell her. She deserves to know who I really am. No name, no signature, just that. My chest tightened. I didn't understand. What lie? Who was he? The questions that wouldn't let me sleep that night. I barely slept. I stared at the letter, over and over. Was my mom hiding something about my father? Had he not died like she said? The next morning I went to her house. She was sitting in the kitchen sipping coffee like any other day. "Mom," I said, placing the photo and letter on the table. Her face turned pale. "Where did you find these?" "In the attic." She froze. For a few seconds she just stared. Then she whispered, "I was going to tell you one day." Her voice shook. Her eyes filled with tears. "Tell me what, Mom? Who is he?" She looked away. "It's complicated." "Then uncomplicate it," I said, louder than I meant to. Her lips trembled. "He wasn't your father." I blinked. "What do you mean?" "You said he died." "He did, but not that man." My world started spinning. The secret begins to unravel. Mom took a deep breath and began. "When I was young, I fell in love with a man named Robert. He was charming, funny, and kind. We got married, and a few months later I found out I was pregnant." She paused. "But Robert wasn't your father." I stared at her. "Then who was?" Tears rolled down her cheeks. Robert was sterile. We tried everything. Doctors, treatments, prayers. Nothing worked. And then, her voice broke. "I made a terrible mistake. I turned to someone else." Silence. Only the ticking clock filled the room. "Who?" I whispered. She looked straight at me. Robert's brother. The forbidden truth. My breath caught. What? She nodded slowly. It was a moment of weakness. I hated myself for it, but I got pregnant. And when I realized it, I panicked. Robert thought the baby was his. He was so happy. And I couldn't destroy him. I felt my stomach twist. So, my real father is Uncle David. My knees almost gave out. I remembered Uncle David, the quiet man who used to visit us when I was little. He'd bring me toys, smile warmly, call me Little Star. And suddenly, every memory felt tainted. The price of her secret Mom told me Robert found out the truth shortly before he died in a car accident. He was furious, broken. He told me he never wanted you to know. He said it would destroy you. And David? I asked. He moved away. We never spoke again. He sent you birthday cards for years, but I hid them. My eyes filled with tears. All this time you let me believe my father was gone. You let me mourn someone who wasn't even my dad. She sobbed. I was trying to protect you. You were too young. You wouldn't have understood. I shook my head. No, Mom. You were protecting yourself. The search for the truth. For weeks, I couldn't look at her. I packed my bags and left. But curiosity and something deeper kept me awake at night. If Uncle David was my real father, I had to find him. After months of searching, I found an address. He lived 2 states away, in a quiet coastal town. I drove there, heart pounding. When I knocked, an older man opened the door. His eyes widened and filled with tears instantly. You look just like your mother, he said softly. I'm her daughter. I know, he whispered. Meeting my real father. We sat for hours. He told me everything. He admitted he had loved my mother, but hated himself for betraying his brother. He said when Robert died, he wanted to be in my life, but my mother begged him not to. I didn't want to make her pain worse, he said, his voice cracking, so I stayed away. He showed me photos of me as a baby, photos I'd never seen. He'd secretly taken them from afar at family gatherings, just to see me. I watched you grow, he said, tears streaming down. Every birthday, every milestone, I was there, just not close enough. I cried for hours that day, not out of anger, but out of grief for the years we lost. The letter that changed everything. When I returned home, I found my mother waiting on the porch. She looked older, smaller, like the truth had finally crushed the weight she carried for decades. I know you hate me, she said quietly. I don't, I replied. I just don't understand why you thought a lie was better than love. She reached into her pocket and handed me another letter. I wrote this years ago. I wanted you to have it when I was gone. But maybe it's time now. In the letter, she explained everything. Her guilt, her fear, her endless love for me. I thought I was protecting you from pain, but I only delayed it. If I could turn back time, I would have chosen honesty over fear. By the time I finished reading, both of us were crying. Forgiveness. A week later, I invited both my mother and David to dinner. The air was heavy, silent, awkward. But as the evening went on, tears turned into stories, and pain turned into peace. My mother held my hand. I'll never forgive myself for what I did, she said. I smiled softly. Then let me do it for you. For the first time in years, I saw her smile. Not the polite kind, but the real one. That night I realized something. Family isn't about blood or secrets. It's about the love that survives them.